Nous vous invitons à présent à vous joindre à nous pour la 24e partie de la conférence intitulée « Le premier congrès végétarien du Moyen-Orient, ou MEVEG », tenu à Dubaï, aux Émirats Arabes Unis, le 7 décembre 2010, avec Nils El Akkad, PDG de la société Organic Foods and Café, qui nous apprendra à faire la différence entre les cosmétiques conventionnels et les cosmétiques naturels, ainsi que ce que sont les aliments OGM.
So we have wonderful Nils here who will be sharing with us a lot of information about natural cosmetics and, well, he'll tell you himself. So let's welcome Nils on the stage as well. Ladies and gentlemen, please. A little bit of information about Nils El Akkad, born in North Germany but raised in the UAE. Nils' mother had fallen ill when he was 15 years old. And she passed away after a long battle with cancer in Nils' last year of university. And Nils' father was taken by shock and underwent bypass surgery and remained in Europe for 18 months. It was his mother who had exposed him to the wrongs of the food industry when he was younger and had planted the seeds of raw food, organic food, and healthier living, which she had studied in the last years of her life. In the late 1990s, Nil himself fell in after several years of struggling. A homeopath cured what every other doctor could not find. He was poisoned by the very food he ate. This was a big enlightenment. He went back home to try to change the industry and try to get organic food to UAE. But he knew that the food retail was not about nutrition, but it was about money, commercialism. So he just put it to practice what he'd learned from his mother and then his own illness about revealing the poor nutrition and the food industry's interest in money and the fact that this was all legal, irrespective to the effects on our health. That was a real big wake-up call. So this all culminated in a day where he could no longer go on watching, so he took the decision to open Organic Foods and Cafe with the aim to make a difference by providing a healthy option. And it's the largest organic store in the world, and the first franchise of Organic Foods and Cafe is now being opened in Bahrain as well. A big round of applause for Nils as he starts.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm just going to run through a couple of slides. I actually hold the talk a little bit differently than most people. I'm not interested in my presentation. I've seen it many times. I'm interested in whatever questions you have. So if you do have a question, ask me, and I'd rather answer that than go through my presentation. I will go through this quickly. I've been asked to talk about cosmetics first. And actually, this is the question I always say when we talk about cosmetics. Does anybody know where does the cream go you put on your skin? Slightly wrong. Who knows where the cream goes? If you put a suntan lotion on your skin, where does it end? In your bloodstream. Exactly. So you put a suntan lotion in your bloodstream. You put a shampoo on your scalp. You use toothpaste and it ends in your bloodstream. What stops it from getting into the bloodstream? What decides between putting it on your skin to going into your bloodstream, which of that cream I want in my bloodstream and which I don't? Well, I'll answer that for you, nothing. So you have all these things. See what's written out here? I just picked a shampoo at the supermarket, and all these things were in there. Sodium benzoate, by the way, is a preservative, a carcinogen, like potassium sorbate. It's legal, though. It's absolutely legal to put sunscreen as well on your skin with titanium dioxide and to get cancer from it. It's legal to get that cancer. So whatever you put on your skin ends in your bloodstream. If you eat something, since this is a vegetarian conference, what happens when you eat something? What determines whether it ends in your bloodstream or not? Does anybody know? Your gut. Your gut determines whether we should eat it, whether it should go into our bloodstream or not. Now, if you were to eat this, or sunscreen, I tell you what, you would vomit and you'd probably get dysentery because your gut would not let it into your bloodstream. Yet, it's all okay to put on your skin. It's very strange to me why we should be allowed to put this stuff on your skin. We should eat it. and then let our gut decide. And if you are willing to eat it, and you're happy eating it, then I say, okay, you can put it on your skin. So these are all the things that you find. These first two items here are actually called parabens. It's a paraben. What you should look out in a cosmetic, try to see where the ingredients are from. Most of these ingredients here are petrochemical. If you see, a lot of the natural cosmetics will say from tapioca and coconut, from coconut, from coconut, from corn and palm. Lesser ingredients from tapioca and coconut. And this is what really you're looking out for. I'm trying to make this user-friendly. You're looking out for ingredients that are derivatives from plant material, not petrochemical based. Here I've picked up two things. Polysorbate 60. It's very common. Look at your shampoo at home. It probably has polysorbate 60 in it. One of the causes, cancer. Parabens, the first two ingredients on the shampoo I showed you. They mimic estrogen. Development and growth of babies and adults are affected. Now these things are all legal. It's perfectly legal. Smoking, by the way, is legal. To my knowledge, it's not illegal anywhere. It's also legal to take this. It's legal to kill yourself doing this. You should be looking for cosmetics that are clean, that don't have parabens, that don't have all the chemicals, that don't have products that you cannot even pronounce the names of. By the way, we're launching this one in a couple of days in the shop, and these are all either natural or organic cosmetics. Does anybody have any questions about whatever I've said, or any question about any cosmetic or body care product? I don't have a very long slot. I'm going to be moving on.
A lot of us around don't end up buying or indulging in the organic products because of the price. The costing of such products is probably higher than or more than the off-the-shelf products otherwise available, despite the legal carcinogens in them.
I need about an hour to answer that one, but I'll do it in 30 seconds. Certain products are not really that expensive. Here's one of them. They're Logona and Sante. These are cosmetics that are natural cosmetics. So they're free from parabens. They're free from petrochemicals. They're natural. They're not much more than normal ranges of body care products. Then I must say, if you go to the upper end of the conventional cosmetics, take the Yves Saint Laurents, the Chanels and everything, not one of our products even costs half of what they cost. So when you come to decorative cosmetics and our expensive ends, it's half the price. People often say, but the shampoo costs too much. I think you have to look at the whole basket and say, fine, what am I spending on cosmetics and body care together? And I'm sure you can easily buy all of that if you change the whole basket of products. The other thing I always say is, what's the price tag of your life? I know what the price tag of mine is. If I could get my mother back today, I would, but I can't. That decision is gone. So I think really one has to look at the bigger picture when one does this, and not necessarily live in a huge house and drive a huge car, but nourish the body we have and live healthy and happy. And that's really what I always say about foodstuffs as well. And this goes the same way. Cosmetics for me, if it ends in my bloodstream, I have to treat it like a foodstuff. I'm going to go on because we don't have much time. Here's a little chart showing what a particular company, this is Aiken.
Niall, sorry to interrupt. There's a lady here who wants a question for you.
Oh, shoot.
يعني if I eat any of these brands, I will not vomit?
You know, you won't. If you eat most of the Dr. Hauschka ones, you probably won't vomit. You wouldn't vomit and you wouldn't get diarrhea. But if you eat the horrific ones, yes, you would vomit and you would get diarrhea. Actually, to answer that, my son ate a pot of my wife's face cream last week and he didn't vomit. That was the trial.
Do you use sodium benzoate as a preservative in this?
Sorry?
The sodium benzoate is something as a preservative for your cream?
Sodium benzoate?
Yeah,
in conventional cosmetics, yes. In organic cosmetics, you're not allowed to use it.
Okay.
So you can't use sodium benzoate, you can't use potassium sorbate. You have to think of other more ingenious ways to preserve. So here's a table, and I can give you this table, I've got them at the back, showing that what the function of something is, what this particular company uses, and what other companies use and why. So this is a little bit helpful. I can give you these sheets. I'll leave them at the back. You can pick them up, and then you can when you go home and see your shampoo and have a look and say, oh, this has got this stuff in. I really don't want this stuff. So picking your cosmetics made simple. The next bit I want to talk about is GMOs, really quick as well. Genetically modified organisms came on the world in a big way about 30 years ago. Before that, they were in the lab, they were in the infancy. The promises they gave us was to feed the world, to grow crops in marginal soils, and to increase yields. This is what was told to us so that we would feel good about GMOs. Now we feel very good. We're going to feed all these starving people. We're going to grow this crop in sandy soils which have no rain. We're going to have all this great yield of production. 30 years on, I didn't notice less people starving. I still have yet to see a GMO crop being grown in a marginal soil. What I do see is GMO crops being grown in the best soil we have, because the product that comes off the GMO crop can get sold at a premium when it comes to making PLA bags, which is a replacement for plastic. And as for the increased yields, we will go through that in a little bit. This is a very interesting slide I took out of an old presentation. Does everybody know how GMOs work? Yeah? You take a part of the chromosome of one species, not an animal and put it in another animal, of one species, and put it in to another species. When you cross a peach and a plum, you get a nectarine or something like that. It's something that works in nature. You can cross different breeds of dogs and different breeds of cats, but you don't normally cross people with a nectarine. And here, this is a fish, and this is a tomato. So what happens if you cross this fish and this tomato and take a gene of this fish and put it in the tomato? You get a fishato. Now, it sounds funny, but this was actually done. This was actually done, and you can actually buy these fishatos. They sell them in a supermarket. They call them tomatoes. I don't know why they call them tomatoes, because they're not tomatoes. Does anybody know why they cross a fish and a tomato? A fish has the ability to live with this sweet blood in salt water without having all the water sucked out of it by osmosis. So the ingenious idea is if we take that gene from that fish and put it in the tomato, we will stop the water going out of a tomato, which is true, it works. You have a tomato which doesn't shrivel, it doesn't dehydrate. After 1 month on the shelf with very little refrigeration, it still looks like this. Does it have any nutrient in it? Probably not. Does it have any allergens in it? It probably has a whole bunch of allergens because it's got proteins that are not originally in the tomato. And us as human beings have evolved with the planet and with our food source, and by natural selection, all the human beings who could live with what we have around us and eat are still here. All the others, well, they're not here anymore. Now suddenly we're changing nature and putting a new environment for us human beings to live in. Suddenly we've got these other out of this planet species that human beings have to live with. And we will go through a whole another range of natural selection of who will survive and who will not survive these new species. A test is under study on human beings, and so far we lose 50% of our reproductive capability, but we haven't done 3 generations yet, we've done 1. So it seems to me that our food is naturally selecting us out.
What I hope to achieve with my work is a change in how society views non-human animals. I desire equality for all life, and I try to reflect this in my work. Craig Norcross, vegan.
Téléspectateurs et mon Dieu, merci de votre compagnie aujourd'hui pour le premier congrès végétarien du Moyen-Orient, MEVEG, dans Paroles de sagesse.